Chris has well over the amount of fights listed on his record. He actually fought many years ago in an Indiana-based show, and supposedly Chris has, let's say, 30-plus MMA amateur fights that were unsanctioned. So Chris is very well-rounded, but let's see how well he prepared for this fight.
Exactly. Sanctioning for mixed martial arts, amateur mixed martial arts, didn't come to Indiana until, I believe, like 2008 or 2009. So that you definitely get a lot of the guys that have been fighting for a while that most likely have some unsanctioned fights, and I know that Chris Meyers is one of those guys. And Dave Rankin, in talking to him, one of the funny things that I learned that the reason why he got into MMA is because of the movie Never Back Down.
Oh God, Dave, we're gonna have to have a talk about this one later. I'm surprised
you admitted that.
That is embarrassing, Dave. And we went to high school there. Dave, I love everything about you, but never back down, buddy. We gotta talk. But yeah, as you see with Dave's, corner men, he's got Nathan Fitch, an excellent Muay Thai coach. Also got his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt today from Vitor Oliveira, and Christopher Curtis, which I believe you have ranked at number 10 right now, and a very seasoned MMA veteran. So Dave's got a very good corner working with him today.
Exactly, as you mentioned, Chris ranked number 10 at pro welterweight, and honestly, one of my favorite fighters. Like I said, this is not based on what I think. I love his fighting style. Anytime Chris Curtis fights, I'm going to show up and watch, and I would love to see him fight any one of those guys that's ranked in the top 10.
Sure.
And Chris even admitted that he took some tough losses. He had a fight against Forrest Pets and took some fights, some comeback fights, and I think that one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is the rankings are fluid, and if he fights a guy who may be 5-0, 6-0, or a top guy, he could jump up the rankings in a heartbeat. So, like I said, that's one of the things. I think it's just a snapshot of where things are today.
It's motivating too for these guys,
exactly,
because it creates that buzz. It creates that buzz.
And if we can be the motivation to help create better and more fights between really good fighters, then I think that is kind of what we are, and help promote the sport and promote it from a different aspect.
Absolutely. So Dave looks like he's in shape. He looks ready to go. It'll be interesting to see Chris. Again, Chris has had an up-and-down career. He's very tough. When I fought him, we went 3 rounds. He was very hard to finish. He had very awkward strength. He was like, I call it like farm boy strength. Very strong in weird positions. I was able to control him for the entire fight, but he was very tough to put away. So Chris is a game guy. I think for Chris, it's what kind of mindset is he in tonight? Where is he coming from? Where has he been training? Has he been putting in the work? Is he ready for a caliber fighter who's this well-rounded in David Rankin?
And Chris Meyers 4-2 in his last 6 fights, but is coming off of a loss. His last fight was at Turfway last May, so also over a year layoff in between fights. So that's one of those things where, like as you mentioned, what's the mindset? He comes in, he represents Fight out of Cincinnati, which is kind of one of the more underrated gyms in the area, and been around for a long time. But
Fight, what's interesting is, and Fight doesn't even exist anymore. So I don't know where they train. I know they still have their group of guys, but I'm interested to know where they're all training together. But again, I guess it all comes down to preparation. We have an undefeated fighter who seems to be on the rise, and a veteran right here. We got a true vet. So it's going to be real interesting to see where Chris Meyers is coming from tonight.
And another interesting thing, Rankin making his Hardrock MMA debut has only ever fought for Absolute Action MMA.
That does add another element too.
Whereas Meyers has kind of fought all over the place. He's no stranger to this very building here at Turfway Park. Fought a lot for Turf Wars, fought for Hardrock, Bluegrass Brawl.
And I think the gloves he's wearing are also probably about 10 years old, if I recall. I think we fought with those gloves on too.
The Punisher Meyers.
Got Dave Rankin in the black and red, Chris Meyers in the camo.
And once again,
Chris Kinman is your referee for this one. You got to think that, Rankin, you have that 145-pound title fight a little bit later on tonight. You got to think he might have his eye on the winner of that fight.
And that would be quite an interesting matchup. We'll talk about that a little later. Former teammates potentially butting heads.
And Rankin the southpaw, working the jab immediately.
Nice kick from Meyers, though. Very good kick. Goes for the takedown. This is where I was talking about the strength that's very deceptive for Meyers.
He already is elevating Rankin, who's probably about 5 or 6 inches taller than him.
See, there's the strength that you just don't expect.
Carrying him across the cage.
A very good slam. Wow. Very good from Meyers. There's that seasoned vet.
Already has the back, has that left arm trapped.
But now this is where the technical aspect of training is going to catch up. Is his head trapped? No, his head's out.
Good job of
Nice.
Rankin finishing.
He's got to look out for the triangle. Good.
They
Now he's
drove
on
through
top.
on that single leg to end up on top here in the guard of
Good
Chris
wrist
Meyers.
control, though, for Meyers. And this is where I remember when Meyers and I fought, he had crazy wrist control grip. His strength was very bizarre right here. Very hard to strike, like what he's doing right now. Works his legs very high. Very underrated ground. But Dave's got to be careful with his arms being trapped.
One of the things, you know, when you get to the ground, the length maybe of Rankin is tougher because he has to get more space to kind of posture up and throw those strikes on the ground here.
Yeah, I don't think he's used to fighting a guy kind of as lanky as him and slim. But I think he's also experiencing some of that awkward strength from Chris Meyers.
Rankin looking for that can opener position maybe to try to break that guard of Chris Meyers.
But you
here from
see
the
that
top.
wrist control. Meyers doing a good job of wrist control.
Yeah, still has that wrist control. Meyers.
He's being patient. He's looking for his shots. He's got to watch out for the triangle. He's in a triangle, actually. He's putting himself in a triangle position, and Meyers did not even notice it.
Good job passing, though, by Dave Rankin.
And Dave's long arms could come into a big factor here with chokes. He's got to be patient, though.
But it's got those hips out.
But look, yeah, Meyers, so far, very smart fight from both gentlemen. But he's got to be careful, and here comes the guillotine, perhaps. No, Meyers scrappy, staying in it again.
He's switched legs here on that single.
Very funky positions they're ending up in, and Meyers doing an exceptionally good job right now on the grappling department. Dave staying patient, though. Both fighters being very smart, picking their shots. Again, you can see the experience in both fighters. Nothing too crazy happening yet.
Yeah, a little bit of a slower pace, more technical, at least so far in this first round.
A big lift might be coming, though, from Meyers. No, oh, here maybe another slam. The conditioning is what I'm real interested in seeing with Meyers.
There's the knee.
Nice body lock, though, for Meyers. Doing a good job controlling, closing the distance, not giving Dave any space.
You got to think that Meyers being the shorter guy, it's going to be easier for him to drop levels and maybe get this takedown, but he's trying.
He really likes that body lock.
Yeah, all these takedowns he's trying are almost kind of Greco-style takedowns.
But see, this is where Dave's good. Dave's got to keep his range. He's standing right in front of him. He doesn't need to. If he keeps his distance and pumps that jab,
nice body kick. Right to the liver and look to throw that knee. But
wow. Did he clip Dave?
Jab. Looks like it was just kind of a stepping off little jab, though. But
that was an interesting first round. Who would you give that to, McKinnon?
I think that's a tough first round. You know, it's super close. I think maybe even Meyers, just based on the fact that he seemed to be more aggressive and had that takedown. He did end up on his back at one point,
though. Good wrist control. Yeah, I think Dave needs to use his range a little bit more. He's so long, and he stood right in front of Meyers. He just needs to keep his level a little lower and actively pump that jab out. But very impressive. Meyers is very good with that upper body lock. I was very impressed with those takedowns. Again, that awkward strength that comes into place.
Interesting strategy in between rounds. You see Meyers not taking the stool, and Rankin does take the stool here with his corner. Nathan Fitch.
You know, Rankin actually looks to be breathing a little bit heavy here. Maybe a bit of an adrenaline dump. You said a new show, different venue. It should be interesting to see how these next two rounds play out.
But I don't blame you.
Yeah, Rankin also very used to finishing fights early in the fight. So
he's also gone, I think, the distance though a couple times.
Yeah, he has one decision, I believe, on his record. 1 submission and 5 knockouts or TKOs.
Sure.
Actually won the Absolute Action title in his last fight with a win over Ethan McGee.
Yeah, it's not IKEA, buddy. You got to take the stools with you.
Oh, my God. Be interesting to see a strategy coming in this next round. Will Rankin use his distance a little bit better and use that range? Or will Meyers press forward again? He's a scrapper.
Quarterman training soon.
Round number 2 here, Dave Rankin and Chris Meyers.
Here we go, round 2.
Rankin seems a little bit lighter on his feet here.
Nice, wow. Meyers throwing, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, was that? What did we have there? What was that?
Piece of ice.
What was that? Wow, good exchanges from both gentlemen.
Yeah, dirty boxing here in tight.
Good defenses from Meyers. He's really, wow.
You can see Rankin, who trains at Sun with Nathan Fitch, using that Muay Thai clinch.
Rankin's got to cut these angles. He's going straight back, and that's what's hurting him here. He's allowing Meyers to close the distance and dirty box and press forward.
Just kind of an aggressive guy who just keeps coming forward in Chris Meyers.
Again, I think it's that awkward strength that you just don't, you're not prepared for. When you look at his physique, you don't think much of him, but Chris is very strong. I think that's the big difference right here. He's deceptively strong. He's doing a good job pressing forward, and that experience is starting to weigh in a little bit here.
Yeah, interesting that that Meyers has this position here. I want to see him get the head position, that forehead maybe on the chin, driving into Rankin.
Yeah, Rankin's really got to get that underhook there. He's trying to crossface, but he needs an underhook and turn him away from the cage. Yeah, he needs to get that left arm underhook, or he could feed for that Kimura grip as well.
Yeah, or
the head's on the outside. Now here, this is a guillotine. Now this is where things get interesting.
Those long limbs.
This is where things get in. He's got to turn him into the cage. He's not going to finish it standing up unless Chris decides to give it up.
Looks like it's under the chin though.
This is going to be hard, but maybe
no arm in.
Oh,
this might be tight here.
Now he's adjusting. Now I think it's tight. There it is.
Switches to that
great job from David Rankin. Great job from Mr. David Rankin.
Second submission of his career after 5 of his first 6 wins were by knockouts, so maybe even showing off some of that ground game and that grappling.
That GF team BJJ right there under the tutelage of Mr. Professor Fitch. Very good finish. Right when I was wondering where that fight was going to go, Dave pulls it out. And another example with Chris, a guy who has so much potential, still so young, so many fights, and he was winning, in my opinion, that fight. And something right there just kind of, I don't know what happened there. Just kind of stopped. A lot of potential in Chris.
Nevertheless, Dave Rankin going to move up to 8-0 with 7 finishes now on his career.
Yeah, very nice. No decisions, actually. You said no decisions? All finishes.
1 win by decision.
Okay.
7 out of 8 of his wins have been finishes.
Phenomenal job. And really scrapped, threw down there, showed he had a good chin, was willing to exchange.
Thanks, Chris. That's sweet.
Nice submission finish.
32 seconds into the second round. Your winner due to the tap out by guillotine, David.
There's the Loveland Tiger for you. Another alumni. And that guy is such a threat David's going to be with that length at that weight. He's not going to run into many guys his size.
Yeah, you got to think maybe even potentially could make 135.
Which would be insane. Maybe as a